According to research, 90% of Americans demonstrate codependent behaviors during their lifetime, which goes hand in hand with the trend that older adults are increasingly enabling their adult children. After 8 years of helping older adults turn their retirement years into their best years full of energy, purpose, and passion, I have found that relationships are at the heart of their success. And this topic of relationships with adult children does come up often. So in this video, you will learn 4 important steps to stop enabling your adult children. Step number 1 is to shift the role. To change your relationship dynamic, you gotta embrace change itself, and more specifically, the change that's in your control. Step number 1 is a foundational piece that you can take on all on your own, which is to shift your own narrative. Call it shifting your perspective or mindset. The gist of this invisible work is to change the story that you tell yourself as it relates to your grown children and how you see them or want to interact with them. So think about your ideal role and dynamic. For example, you've seen them as a child who needs your help. Your role was to guide and protect them. And the dynamic was they trusted you in that guidance. Now, the shifts could be that it's time to see them as a sovereign adult who's capable of taking care of themselves. Your role can, of course, still be guide, and perhaps instead of simply protect, maybe just enjoy their company and presence and who they've become. And the dynamic can be that they trust you to accept them and that you'll trust them to reach out for guidance when they need it. Either way, think deeper than the simple day-to-day duties and dig into the bigger emotional decisions and lifestyle. Easing up doesn't mean that you stop caring about them or stop wanting to help them. In fact, if enabling is happening, it means that you start expecting them to take responsibility for their own lives and give them the chance to dig deeper and do their own inner work. Once you have that dynamic shift in place, step number 2 is to learn to say no. Saying no to your children can be super challenging at first, and then it becomes smoother each time you practice it. But it is a worthwhile practice when you're coming from a place of love and a place of clear intention and that shifted dynamic from step number 1. For both of your sakes, learn how to say no. This is also a very foundational step that can help you protect your intentions in so many other areas of life. Either way, if you struggle with saying no, which is a skill that you can cultivate, here are a few tips. Actually say the word no. A lot of times people avoid saying no because they don't want to confront or hurt someone's feelings, yet it's often more productive to be upfront and direct. Give a reason. That doesn't mean make excuses, but it does mean simply state your reasons clearly and concisely just to help them understand. Be firm. Once you've said no, don't waffle back and forth or cave in and change your mind. You want to build trust and credibility, and part of that is following through with your own words and decisions. Saying no is hard. Research shows that most parents sadly aren't able to cut off their children even when they're having drug problems that impact the entire family. Yet, saying no is foundational if you want to stop enabling your child. What's helpful to a lot of our members and clients in our program is to do it from a place of love and clear intention. Once you have your no's in practice, step number 3 is to implement consequences. This doesn't mean be mean or punitive, but it does mean that unwanted behaviors need consequences and your follow through with them. In the same way that consequences are useful for younger parent-child dynamics, there are 2 types of consequences that work well for older adult children dynamics too. Natural and logical. Natural consequences, they happen organically without you having to do anything. For example, if your child doesn't pay the electricity bill, they may have a late fee, or if they wait too long, their power could get cut off. Logical consequences are those that you impose. For example, if your child doesn't get a job, you'll stop lending them money for certain purchases or habits that aren't necessary. Whatever it is, clearly define what kind of consequences work best for you and your child, and whatever you do, follow through with them to keep your credibility and trust solid, and so they don't keep doing the same unwanted behavior over and over. And bonus tip, when it comes to finances, the trick is to not simply bail them out. This is a tough one because financial hardship is common. According to a study, while 64% of people agree that financial independence should start at age 22, reality shows that only 24% are doing that. So if you do this, you're not alone. Unfortunately, this trend can, of course, actually hurt your kids' financial habits over the long term and keep them stuck in a cycle of codependency and maybe straining your own finances and your sense of freedom. But financial or not, to stop enabling your grown child, the first 3 steps, they go hand in hand and they work in tandem together. It's about setting your kids up for success by stopping the handouts and heading inward for your answers, to remain clear, direct, and firm on your own intentions, which is probably the single most important takeaway in private coaching sessions and among our members in the Rewire group. It's about directing your attention inward. Step number 4 is to focus on your own growth. It might not be the most attractive step today, but this last tip is the most important one. If you want to stop enabling your child and stop that pattern of appeasing guilt and so on, it's time to redirect your energy to yourself and your own connections with what's below the surface. A lot of the time, enabling is a side effect of a deeper issue within self. For example, sometimes parents enable their children because they feel guilty, which is common. According to research, American parents on average feel pangs of guilt 23 times a week. But if you look deeper, that guilt may be displaced, and it may even be a sign of your own people-pleasing behaviors, and or, this is also very common, there could be a trait that makes you susceptible to your own codependency or your need for approval or sense of purpose that's hooked into your grown children. For instance, the need for approval is a trait susceptible to codependency alongside high anxiety and self-defeating thoughts. Codependency aside, setting boundaries or implementing appropriate consequences are very powerful tools that will allow you the space and the breathing room to address your own clarity and growth path. So when you do your own inner work and connect with your own authenticity, your deeper desires and goals and wishes and dreams, your best self comes alive and shows up. And that is one of the most powerful relationship dynamic shifts that you can make. Not only are you a more solid role model for your adult children to look up to, but also by showing up as your best, most authentic version, that version of you attracts relationship dynamics and people and ideas and things that are aligned with that version of you. And all the other less healthy, less ideal dynamics that don't serve you, like codependency and guilt and neediness, or lack of confidence or lack of self-worth, so many other common side effects, they drop off and fall to the wayside. I see this all the time in private coaching sessions and in our program membership. When you work on yourself first and foremost, your relationship dynamics have to shift to that better version of you. They improve 100% of the time. Speaking of which, relationships are just one part of this. If you want comprehensive help achieving your ideal retirement full of energy and passion and purpose from the inside out, this is my exact wheelhouse. Head over to our free workshop and watch how to turn your successful career into a successful retirement. Either way, thank you so much for watching. We need more people like you striving to be your best in retirement. I am Cyn Meyer, your passionate retirement life coach, and I will see you in the next video.